Hey guys, welcome back to another part two of On the Morning You Wake Up. Wait, on the morning you wake to the end of the world. I always say it wrong, okay? So, part two, chapter two is called The Doomsday Machine, so let's get into it. Whoa. That is like.
On the morning you wake to the end of the world. Chant all the names of our dead and dying. Refuse to forget Koho'olave, Makua, Pohakuloa, Mokoli'i, and then look to the horizon. Call upon the memory of hundreds of tests carried across our oceanic backs. Bikini and Anewatak, Kirimati and Kalama, Meraringa and Imu, Maruloa and Whangaraufa, and all the unnamed caught choking downwind. Epeli Hauofa's beautiful sea of islands vision perverted into a sea of toxic waste. The enduring gift from our American, British, and French protectorates.
Whoa.
January 13, 2018, 8:08 and 0 seconds a.m.
911, please, fire ambulance.
Police, I guess.
Emergency, non-emergency.
And I just got an alert on my phone saying there was a ballistic missile inbound.
Yeah, we just got it too. It's happening to us right now too.
So what are we supposed to do?
You know what, let me get you to dispatch. 911, please, fire ambulance. Hello?
There's stating that there's a missile coming to Hawaii.
Yeah, you know what, we just got on our personal phones too, and we're trying to look on the news. As much as you know, that's how much we know. We're still trying to figure out what this whole message is about. I'm so sorry, sir. All lines are busy. Yeah, right now we're getting inundated with calls asking, and we don't have the answer right now because we just got it.
We called emergency services and they didn't have any advice for us. Nobody was tweeting from government officials. There weren't any emergency news alerts. There was just nothing. It was radio silence. And then we were on our own. So I'm looking through social media. All I'm seeing are my friends and family freaking out, tweeting things like, "Is this real? Is this real? What do I do?"
I just kept thinking, we're gonna feel all of the heat, there's going to be pain.
Okay, so stairs.
In Hiroshima, they have the shadows of people burned into ground and walls from how hot and intense the blast was.
Oh, dang.
And I kept thinking, what is my shadow going to look like? What is my silhouette going to look like?
That one right there must have been a real man. I feel bad. Okay. Oh, there's a person.
Well, I was 12 years old on that day, 1945. I was on the way to school that morning. Everybody in school died and nobody survived. If I'm born maybe a year later and I'm attending the elementary school, I'm not here to talk to you. When we see the flash and the big noise, our train stopped. We all jump off. We saw that mushroom shape of a cloud. We don't know what's going on. So we start walking toward the Hiroshima city.
Lady, I think your house is haunted.
the people start coming. I thought we are going into hell because those people are all burned and skin, arms and face, all the just peeling off, and you cannot even tell man or woman. That's the image that I can never forget. That happened 1945. We have no warning. Bang, it happened. But this one, 2018, I live in Oahu and I was sleeping. I wake up because of the noise. They said, go hide somewhere safe. And I think, what do you mean? I cannot hide in no place safe. If it's coming, it's too late. So I decide I don't want to experience things I did when I was kids. So I don't want to be survivor anyway.
Hiroshima was destroyed with a single bomb, which has defined the nuclear age for most people. But when you see a picture of the devastation, you are looking at what happens to a city when it experiences the explosion of a detonator of a modern thermonuclear weapon.
Fatality.
Modern nuclear weapons have a destructive force tens to hundreds of times more powerful than those dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. If one were detonated over a metropolis like New York, Tokyo, Paris, or London, over 15 square miles would be flattened by the initial blast. Almost 50 square miles would be consumed by fire. About 1 million people would die instantly. The scientists who designed nuclear weapons said it best, that in all-out nuclear war, the living would envy the dead. Yet there are still more than 14,000 nuclear weapons in the world. This is enough to destroy our entire planet many, many, many times over. It doesn't matter who fires first or which nations are involved. The nature of military alliances and the fact that nuclear weapons are distributed widely around the world, even in countries outside the 9 nuclear states, means that any nuclear launch has the potential to set off a chain reaction of counterstrikes and retaliations that destroys all life in this world.
It might start with a single missile aimed at incapacitating our communication system, but the overall attack on each side, it would be what are called a doomsday machine, killing everybody not right away, but within months, depending on the food supply, or a year or so for the entire world. That hasn't affected our plan. The weapons continue to be built. In effect, we're ignoring it in the same way we've failed to prepare for the possibility of a pandemic.
Now it's the moon.
The idea that possessing nuclear weapons somehow protects a state or a population does not hold water. They put everyone at risk. Possessing nuclear weapons is a violent act. They are used every single day, regardless of whether or not they're actually detonated.
We kind of thought that we were too powerful to take down, or that it would never happen in our generation. We're too smart to use ballistic missiles like that anymore. And that's like a really Western privileged way of thinking about it, I think. I call it millennial hubris.
When I arrived, my older daughter came out, who's 13. She said she was told to sit down and prepare to die. I looked in her eyes, and she was looking to me for comfort. She was looking for me to say it's going to be okay.
There's no way to give a satisfactory explanation to your child as to why we live in a world that has nuclear weapons.
Back in the fireplace.
I was pregnant at the time, and I didn't tell a lot of people because it was still very early. Having, this life inside of me that I so helpless I couldn't do anything to protect. It was just heartbreaking. Even if we live through this, what am I bringing this baby into? Like who's to say there's not another threat?
I didn't call my daughter in Los Angeles until the last moment. But that's when I think this became most real for me. This is the child that I carried for 9+ months, that I suckled at my breast, that I gave everything I could to. When she picks up, I say, but I just want you to know that I love you. I love you. And she says, I love you too, Mom. And then there's just silence. What if it escalated, or if it was happening in other places, if we weren't the only people getting this ballistic missile alert? If this was the beginning of a civilization-ending event, a collective death experience for all of humanity.
Well, it's left me speechless, as you can tell. Again? Let's just go ahead and get on to chapter 3. That was... Hey. Ooh.
On the morning you wake to the end of the world, call out the names of all the violences that have come while calling itself protection. All the ways we have been left to gather the shattered pieces, 2 island cities in the western corner of the Pacific, flattened to caricature, names rendered meaningless, carved over and over again into the blinding of our textbooks. Just enough of their shape remains to call foul at our hubris, but does nothing to slow the arrogant push of progress, all because the men with the plans called power promised us security behind the barrel of a gun, but none of it will save us the violence that will continue to come. Bullets only beget more bullets, bombs only beget bigger bombs, and in the end, all we are left with is this waste, waiting.
Whoa.
So we're just scanning the horizon. So we're looking for something to crash on the ocean. It was such a powerful moment for us. It was almost as if it might have been the last moment of us being a family together.
My son was scared and they kept saying, are we gonna die? Are we gonna die? I think my daughter was crying. And my son's like, can we pray, Mommy? I never forget that because we don't pray. We never pray. And we just sat there and we literally waited.
I was crying and everybody was holding each other. We started to pray a little bit. Me just sobbing because I couldn't believe that I was about to die. And that's when I just noticed on my phone there was an alert.
Ooh, hello.
There was a notification from my best friend. The missile alert is false. It's a false alarm. Don't worry. Everything is okay. You're safe.
Thank heaven.
What I felt in that moment was gratitude. Just gratitude. Everything was still the same, you know, and yet nothing was the same. It would never be the same.
It was pandemonium in paradise after that alert was sent to phones throughout the state and broadcast on television. Members of Congress are demanding answers on why it took 38 minutes for a correction.
Those responsible for this happening need to be held accountable and making sure that this cannot happen again.
The FCC chairman called the false alert absolutely unacceptable and has launched an investigation.
The people of Hawaii are justifiably livid. They demand answers, and so do we.
Now fired from his job as a Hawaii State Warning Officer, the man responsible for sending the state into 38 minutes of chaos is speaking out. Facing death threats, he's requested anonymity.
I was 100% sure that it was the right decision, that I heard this is not a drill, and I didn't hear exercise at all. I'm really not to blame in this. It was a system failure. I can't say that I would do anything differently based on what I saw and heard.
I read headline after headlines, and I see that the focus is all about blame. You know, why are we so hell-bent on blaming someone who made a mistake and trying to fix it with some kind of redundancy that isn't going to make any kind of difference if there's a nuclear attack? Yes, of course, there was a mistake made, but that's the point. We have weapons of mass destruction, and we've made so many mistakes, and we've been so lucky. How have we survived every close call for all these decades?
It was a false alarm, and we had a nuclear wake-up call, and we all had the gift of our lives returned. And so we now have to act. We have to make sure that this never happens.
We can either wait for what almost happened in Hawaii to be a reality, or we can prevent it from ever happening anywhere in the world. There have been so many people affected by nuclear weapons in many different forms, and their voices are excluded from the elite debates about nuclear weapons by allowing and amplifying the voices of women, the voices of LGBTQ groups, communities of color, indigenous communities. We can start to see an alternative view. We don't have to accept the status quo.
The first step in creating something new is having the courage to imagine that we could live a different way. We really need to come away from this individualism into understanding what it means to be a part of a community. The best place you learn about how to be in community with other people and with your land and with your resources is from Indigenous people, because they still know all those stories. It's not that the individual doesn't exist, but the individual is never at the front. That anywhere I walk, I'm not alone. Even if it's just my body standing there, right? I'm never alone. I have my ancestors, I have my community with me and beside me, both celebrating me and pushing me and holding me accountable. And we have a word in Hawaii, it's kuleana, and it means responsibility, but it also means privilege. It also means authority. It's the closest thing we have to the word right. If we can cure apathy, if we can cure hopelessness, if we can cure individualism, honestly, there's no reason in my mind that I think that we couldn't live in a world that wasn't overrun by this like military industrial complex.
Over the decades, we've become very used to treating nuclear weapons as a political issue, as a partisan issue, as an issue of security and of strategic stability. But this moment in Hawaii can remind us that it goes far beyond that. It's not about enemies or allies. It's about acknowledging our common humanity. We have the tools to lift the nuclear shadow. We just need to use them.
I was moving the dust with my hands. Yep, come on back.
On the morning we wake to the end of the world, remember, all of this violence is not enough to force our forgetting. Our water, our moana, has a memory, and we are made in her image together, meaning we are intimately connected and infinitely powerful. So who but ourselves to hold us accountable, when none of what has been built will save us from what cannot be called back? Remember, this mo'olelo, the air of change is heat. The air of life only rises from aina and kai. There is no part of you that is meant to survive when the cost is this place. On the morning you wake to the end of the world, your vision will be 2020, so use it. As the men with the plans called power call out from behind their screens to tell you to take cover, see beyond the violence of their contradiction, the enduring waste of their direction. Call upon your own mana to make a change. Choose to remember our aina, this kai, these kohivi, and all they have witnessed, even more they have endured, and still stand to protect us. Follow their wisdom. Come Armageddon or high water, hold them close. Pull a pule from your na'au. Call out to your akua by name. And commit to live your life in their image, no matter what the consequence. And maybe, just maybe, the world may not have to end again tomorrow.
You guys should go join that. Yeah. You guys should definitely go join that link. Thank heavens they didn't actually get nuked. That would have been really, really, really bad. But, this was chapter 2 and chapter 3. So I hope you guys liked it. I really liked it. Like I said, if you guys need to like rewind the video and go see that link, you can. But make sure you like and subscribe. Peace out.